Imagine entire civilizations vanishing without a trace, artifacts that shouldn't even exist, and events so bizarre that even modern science struggles to explain them. Today, we're diving deep into the greatest historical mysteries, unsolved events, lost cities, and strange artifacts to uncover what history books don't tell us. Could these mysteries hold the key to secrets humanity was never meant to forget? Let's find out. History is filled with stories of triumph, power, and discovery, but hidden among these are strange events that defy explanation. Stories that historians and scientists have debated for centuries without reaching a clear answer. One of the most haunting mysteries comes from the late 16th century, when more than 100 English settlers vanished without leaving behind a single trace. This was the story of the Roanoke colony, often called the Lost Colony. In 1587, over 100 men, women, and children sailed from England to establish a permanent settlement on Roanoke Island, in what is now North Carolina. They built homes, tried to forge a new life, and dreamed of a future across the ocean. But when the colony's governor, John White, returned to England for supplies and came back 3 years later, he found the settlement abandoned. Houses stood empty, belongings were scattered, and the people had simply disappeared. The only clue was a single word carved into a wooden post: Croatoan. Was it a message pointing to a nearby island? Did the colonists merge with local tribes, or were they wiped out by conflict, disease, or starvation? Even today, archaeologists and historians continue to search for evidence, but the mystery of the Roanoke colony remains unsolved. Another event that continues to puzzle researchers unfolded in Strasbourg, France, in the summer of 1518. Imagine walking through the streets of a medieval town and suddenly seeing dozens of people dancing uncontrollably, day and night unable to stop. It began with one woman who stepped into the streets and danced with a strange, feverish intensity. Within days, more joined her, and soon the city square was filled with hundreds of people moving to no music, as if under a strange spell. Some danced until they collapsed from exhaustion, while others reportedly died from heart failure or strokes. This bizarre phenomenon has come to be known as the dancing plague of 1518 at the time. Local authorities believed the victims were cursed or possessed. Some even hired musicians in the hopes of curing them through structured dancing, but this only made the situation worse. Modern scholars have suggested that the plague may have been caused by ergot poisoning, a hallucinogenic mold that grows on damp rye bread, or perhaps it was mass hysteria triggered by stress, poverty, and famine. Yet none of these explanations fully account for why so many people dance themselves to death, and so the event remains one of the strangest unsolved mysteries of the medieval world. But the list of unexplained events doesn't stop there. Consider the case of the Voynich manuscript, a book filled with hundreds of pages of writing and illustrations that no one has ever been able to decode. Discovered in the early 20th century, but believed to be centuries older. The manuscript is written in an unlanguage or code that has baffled cryptographers, linguists, and even artificial intelligence. Its pages are covered with strange plant drawings, astronomical diagrams, and sketches of women bathing in pools connected by pipes. Some believe it is a medical or herbal guide written in a lost language. Others think it might be an elaborate hoax, while some suggest it could hold secret knowledge from a forgotten civilization. Despite countless attempts to decipher its words, the Voynich manuscript remains a book of questions without answers. History also whispers about the unexplained disappearance of entire armies. In 1939, British archaeologists uncovered a curious account written by the historian Herodotus about a Persian army of 50,000 men sent to conquer the temple of Amun in the Egyptian desert. According to the story, the soldiers marched into the sands but never returned. Herodotus claimed that they were swallowed by a massive sandstorm, their entire force buried beneath the dunes. But with no conclusive evidence, many wonder if the army was truly destroyed by nature, or if something else happened in the desert that has been hidden by time. These events are more than just strange footnotes in history. They challenge our understanding of the past and remind us how much we still do not know. They reveal that history is not always a clear record of facts, but often a collection of mysteries that resist explanation. For every theory put forward, there are gaps that leave us questioning. Were these events the result of natural phenomena that people of the past could not understand? Or do they point to something more extraordinary, something that lies beyond our current knowledge? Each mystery draws us deeper, inviting us to imagine, to speculate, and to keep searching for answers in the silent spaces of history. Throughout history, cities have risen and fallen, leaving behind monuments, ruins, and legends. But some cities have disappeared so completely or left behind such puzzling traces that they remain shrouded in mystery. These are the lost cities of our world, places that challenge our imagination and raise questions about the fragility of civilization. One of the most famous of these is Atlantis, described by the Greek philosopher Plato more than 2,000 years ago. According to his writings, Atlantis was a powerful island nation that existed 9,000 years before his time. It was said to have grand palaces, advanced technology, and vast naval power. But in a single day and night of catastrophe, the island sank beneath the sea. Was Plato recounting a legend meant to teach a moral lesson, or was he preserving the memory of a real place destroyed by natural disaster? Over the centuries, explorers, historians, and even modern scientists have searched the ocean depths for clues, proposing possible locations from the Mediterranean to the Caribbean, yet Atlantis has never been found. The story of a mighty civilization swallowed by the sea continues to haunt our collective imagination. But Atlantis is not the only city lost to time. In the jungles of South America, tales of a glittering city known as El Dorado lured countless explorers on perilous quests. The legend spoke of a king who covered himself in gold dust and bathed in a sacred lake, and of a city overflowing with riches. Driven by greed and ambition, Spanish conquistadors ventured deep into the Amazon in search of this mythical city, but none ever returned with proof of its existence. Some historians believe El Dorado was not a city at all, but a misinterpretation of rituals practiced by indigenous tribes. Others argue that lost settlements may still lie hidden beneath the dense rainforest, waiting to be discovered. To this day, the mystery of El Dorado lingers, symbolizing the eternal human search for wealth and wonder. Another enigma lies in the sands of Pakistan, where the ruins of Mohenjo-daro, one of the great cities of the Indus Valley civilization, tell a story of brilliance and sudden collapse. Over 4,000 years ago, this city was home to tens of thousands of people. It had advanced urban planning, complex drainage systems, and impressive architecture that rivaled later civilizations. Yet around 1900 BCE, Mohenjo-daro was mysteriously abandoned. Unlike other fallen cities, there is little evidence of invasion, famine, or natural disaster. Why would such a sophisticated society vanish so suddenly? Some researchers suggest climate change or shifting rivers forced people to leave, while others believe disease or political upheaval played a role. Whatever the cause, the silence of Mohenjo-daro speaks louder than its ruins, reminding us how fragile even the most advanced civilizations can be. In the heart of the Mediterranean lies another mystery, the island city of Thonis Heracleion. Once a thriving port at the mouth of the Nile, it was a gateway to ancient Egypt where traders, travelers, and priests gathered for centuries. For a long time, it was thought to be little more than myth, until it was rediscovered beneath the waters of the Mediterranean in the year 2000. Divers found colossal statues, temple ruins, and treasures buried under layers of sand and silt. How could such a prominent city vanish so completely from memory until its rediscovery millennia later? Theories suggest earthquakes, rising seas, and unstable ground dragged it under the waves, leaving behind one of the most stunning underwater archaeological sites in the world. And then there is Petra, the rose-red city carved into the cliffs of modern-day Jordan. Once the capital of the Nabatean kingdom, Petra thrived as a hub of trade and culture, boasting temples, tombs, and intricate water systems. Travelers who approached through the narrow canyon of the Sick would be met with breathtaking stone facades that still astonish us today. But Petra too was abandoned, likely after trade routes shifted and earthquakes struck. For centuries it lay hidden in the desert, unknown to the outside world, until a Swiss explorer rediscovered it in the early 19th century. Today, Petra stands as both a wonder and a reminder that even great cities can fade from memory. Across the world, from the ruins of Angkor in Cambodia to the cliff dwellings of Mesa Verde in North America, lost cities tell us that human achievement is always balanced by vulnerability. Civilizations rise through ingenuity, power, and determination, but they can fall through war, environment, or forces beyond human control. What makes these stories so compelling is not only what was lost, but the fact that we may never fully know why. The mystery of these vanished worlds continues to captivate, leaving us to wonder what other forgotten cities still lie buried beneath Earth. Jungle or sea, waiting to remind us of the fleeting nature of human history. Scattered across the world are objects that challenge everything we think we know about human history. These strange artifacts are not just relics of the past. They are puzzles that refuse to be solved, fragments of forgotten knowledge that suggest ancient civilizations may have been far more advanced than we once believed. Each artifact raises a question that continues to unsettle historians, scientists, and archaeologists, forcing us to wonder if parts of human history have been lost, misinterpreted, or hidden. One of the most baffling examples is the Antikythera mechanism, a device discovered in 1901 by sponge divers off the coast of Greece. At first glance, it appeared to be little more than a corroded lump of bronze and wood pulled from a shipwreck, but closer examination revealed something extraordinary. Inside were intricate gears, cogs, and dials, a complex system that scientists now believe functioned as an ancient computer. Built more than 2,000 years ago, this device could track planetary movements, predict eclipses, and even mark the timing of the Olympic Games for centuries. It was thought impossible that such precision engineering could exist in the ancient world. How could people who lived 2 millennia ago have created a machine so advanced that it rivals technology not seen again until the medieval era? Some argue that the Antikythera mechanism is proof of forgotten knowledge, a glimpse into the brilliance of Greek engineering that has otherwise been erased by time. Others believe it hints at an even deeper mystery, that ancient civilizations may have had scientific understanding we still do not fully grasp. Another artifact that stirs debate is the Baghdad Battery, a small clay jar with a copper cylinder and iron rod. Discovered near Baghdad in the 1930s, to many it looks like nothing more than a simple vessel. Yet when reconstructed, it resembles a primitive electrical battery. Some experiments have shown that when filled with acidic liquid, it can produce a small electric charge. If this is true, then it would mean that people living 2,000 years ago may have discovered electricity long before Benjamin Franklin or Thomas Edison. Was it used for electroplating metals, for healing rituals, or was it simply a coincidence in design? No definitive answer has been found, but the idea that ancient civilizations may have harnessed electricity challenges our very timeline of innovation. The Piri Reis map is another artifact that defies explanation. Created in 1513 by an Ottoman admiral named Piri Reis, the map is famous not only for its accuracy but also for what it appears to show. Portions of the coastline of South America are drawn with remarkable precision at a time when much of the continent was barely explored. Even more puzzling, the map seems to depict the outline of Antarctica, centuries before its official discovery in 1820, and not just Antarctica as we know it, but Antarctica without its ice covering, as if drawn from surveys made thousands of years earlier. How could a 16th century cartographer have such knowledge? Some suggest he copied from much older maps passed down from lost civilizations, while others speculate about explorers whose voyages were never recorded. The Piri Reis map remains an enigma, a document that suggests humanity's knowledge of the world may be older and more complex than we imagine. But perhaps the most mysterious of all are the so-called out-of-place artifacts, objects that seem to belong to a different time entirely. Take, for example, the 400-million-year-old hammer discovered in Texas, encased in rock. While many scientists dismiss it as a geological anomaly or a modern tool mistakenly embedded in stone, others claim it is evidence of advanced civilizations existing far earlier than mainstream history allows. Or consider the Dropa stones, discovered in a remote cave in China in the 1930s. These circular stone discs, etched with spiral grooves, have been interpreted by some as ancient records describing beings who came from the stars. While skeptics call them hoaxes, their unusual form and markings continue to inspire debate and speculation. Even among artifacts accepted as authentic, the level of sophistication can be astonishing. Ancient crystal skulls found in Central America are carved with such precision that modern tools would struggle to replicate them. The dendrolite, a relief carved on the walls of an Egyptian temple, resembles what looks strikingly like a modern electric bulb. Are these simply symbolic depictions misunderstood by modern eyes? Or are they evidence that ancient people had access to technology we can hardly believe possible? Each artifact carries with it a whisper of forgotten knowledge, a reminder that history may not be as straightforward as we are taught. They confront us with the uncomfortable possibility that human civilization is older, more advanced, and more complex than we realize. Every discovery, every strange object, every out-of-place artifact pushes us closer to the edge of mystery, leaving us to question whether we are truly uncovering the past, or if the past is slowly choosing to reveal itself to us. Was mass hysteria triggered by famine? Others blame contaminated bread laced with hallucinogens. A few suggest supernatural causes, curses, or even divine punishment. The truth may never be known, and so the theories keep multiplying, feeding our curiosity and shaping the way we think about the past. Even maps can stir debate between facts and theories. The Peary Race Map is a document we can touch and examine. It shows coastlines with startling accuracy, drawn at a time when much of the world was unexplored. But how could it depict Antarctica centuries before it was discovered? Theories suggest ancient seafarers mapped the continent long before modern exploration, while skeptics argue that the supposed Antarctic coastline may simply be a distorted representation of South America. The facts give us a map, the theories give us possibility, and together they weave a story that refuses to settle into certainty. In many ways, the tension between theories and facts is what keeps history alive. If we only had facts, the past would be cold, static, and lifeless. If we only had theories, the past would dissolve into myth, untethered from reality. But together they form a conversation across time, a constant back and forth between evidence and imagination. When archaeologists uncover ruins, scientists analyze data, or historians interpret documents, they present us with fragments. The theories are the bridges we build to connect those fragments into a whole picture, even if the picture is incomplete. And perhaps this is why mysteries endure. They are never just about what happened, but about how we explain what happened. We project our fears, our hopes, and our understanding of the world onto the past, creating stories that reveal as much about us as they do about history itself. Every time we try to separate theory from fact, we are reminded that both are necessary. The facts ground us, the theories inspire us, and together they ensure that the mysteries of history will never stop captivating the human mind. From the dawn of time, human beings have been drawn to the unknown. We stare into the night sky and wonder about distant stars, we explore dark caves and forgotten ruins, and we study ancient artifacts with questions that may never find answers. What drives this fascination with mystery is not simply curiosity, but something deeper, something built into the very core of who we are. Mystery sparks our imagination, it challenges our understanding, and it fuels the belief that the world still holds secrets waiting to be uncovered. Every great civilization has left behind unanswered questions. The pyramids of Egypt stand as towering reminders of human ambition, but also as puzzles about the techniques and motivations that created them. Stonehenge rises on the plains of England with its massive stones aligned to celestial events, yet no one knows exactly why it was built. The Nazca lines stretch across the deserts of Peru, giant figures visible only from the sky, and still we argue about whether they were ritual pathways, astronomical markers, or messages to the gods. Each of these sites is more than a collection of stones or lines carved into earth. They are mysteries, and it is that mystery that gives them their power. The human mind craves explanation, and when we encounter the unexplainable, we are compelled to search for meaning. Ancient stories of lost cities, vanishing peoples, and strange artifacts endure not because they are solved, but because they remain unsolved. Atlantis continues to capture imaginations not because we have found it, but precisely because we have not. The Voynich manuscript is studied by scholars across the world not because it has revealed its secrets, but because it continues to resist them. We are drawn to what we cannot fully grasp because it promises that the world is bigger than what we already know. Mystery also allows us to connect across generations. The questions we ask about history are often the same questions asked centuries ago. A medieval monk who stared at a strange manuscript, a Renaissance explorer who chased rumors of a golden city, or a modern scientist analyzing an ancient device. All share the same wonder and frustration at the limits of human knowledge. Mystery becomes a bridge across time, reminding us that we are not so different from those who came before us. We inherit not only their achievements, but also their unanswered questions. There is also something comforting about mystery, even as it unsettles us. In a world where science explains so much, mystery reminds us that not everything can be measured or cataloged. The unknown is a reminder of humility, that no matter how advanced we become, there will always be limits to our understanding. And in those limits lies possibility. The idea that the world still holds secrets waiting to be revealed keeps us searching, keeps us asking, keeps us believing that discovery is always just around the corner. Mystery also reflects our deepest desires. When we search for lost cities, we are not only looking for ruins, we are looking for proof that greatness can endure beyond time. When we study strange artifacts, we are searching for evidence that humanity is capable of more than we thought possible. When we investigate unsolved events, we are exploring not only what happened, but why it matters. Our fascination is not with the objects or the events themselves, but with what they say about us, our fears, our hopes, and our endless drive to understand. This fascination shapes culture as well. Stories of mystery have fueled myths, legends, and literature for thousands of years. They inspire films, books, and art, reminding us that mystery is not only a matter of science or history, but also of imagination. A mystery can become a metaphor for life itself, a reminder that every answer leads to new questions and every discovery reveals new depths of the unknown. Even in everyday life, we are drawn to the mysterious. We are captivated by unsolved crimes, by tales of ghosts and spirits, by rumors of hidden treasures. It is not always the truth we seek, but the thrill of the search. The process of exploring the unknown gives us meaning, whether or not we ever find the answers we are looking for. And in that sense, mystery is less about solving and more about experiencing. Human history is not a straight line of facts, but a landscape filled with shadows, whispers, and unanswered questions. The fascination with mystery is what keeps us walking into those shadows, listening to those whispers, and chasing those questions. It is what makes us explorers, inventors, storytellers, and seekers. The unknown is not something to be feared, but something to be embraced. Because it is in the unknown that we find the possibility of wonder. History is more than a record of kings, battles, and inventions. It is a vast ocean filled with mysteries that continue to resist explanation. From unsolved events that leave us wondering how entire communities could vanish, to lost cities that once thrived and then disappeared beneath jungle, desert, or sea, to strange artifacts that defy the limits of their time. Each mystery reminds us how fragile and extraordinary human civilization truly is. Theories rise to bridge the gaps, offering possible answers, yet the facts often remain just out of reach, keeping us suspended between what we know and what we imagine. And through it all, our fascination with the unknown never fades. We are compelled to search, to question, to dream, because mystery is not only about the past, it is about the spirit of humanity itself. As long as there are questions left unanswered, history will never be finished, and the mysteries of our world will continue to call us forward into the unknown.